Okay, just think about this for a second. What if I told you there are living things on this planet that were already ancient when the Great Pyramid of Giza was being built? Beings that have just silently witnessed everything: the rise and fall of empires, the birth of religions, the entire sweep of human history. Well, let's get into it because we're not talking about some kind of myth. We're talking about trees. 4,850. Just let that number sink in. That's not a price tag, it's not a distance, it's an age. In years. That's the estimated age of the oldest known individual living organism on our entire planet. And to really put that into perspective, this living thing sprouted from the ground around 2800 BCE. So yeah, the Great Pyramid wasn't even finished yet. It has been standing there, breathing and growing through almost 5 millennia. It's just mind-boggling. And this incredible organism, it has a name. It's called Methuselah. And its story is just one of incredible resilience, amazing discovery, and this sort of quiet defiance against time itself. So Methuselah is a Great Basin Bristlecone Pine, a species that's legendary for its ability to live for ages. It's up high in the White Mountains of California. And if you're thinking about planning a trip, well, its exact location is a total secret. To protect it from any kind of damage, from tourists or vandals, park officials keep its precise spot under wraps. The tree was officially dated way back in 1957 by a guy named Edmund Schulman. Now, Schulman was a dendrochronologist, which is a fancy way of saying he was a tree detective. He literally reads history in tree rings. And he'd spent years chasing rumors of super old trees. So when he heard about these pines, he was, a little skeptical. But as he wrote later, not this time. What he found was an absolute game changer. And this timeline just really drives home the scale of its life, right? When this tree was just a little sapling, the Bronze Age was in full swing. It was already over 2,000 years old when the city of Rome was founded. I mean, it lived through the entire arc of recorded human history as we know it, just a silent witness before we even knew how special it was. And today, it's still there, still living. So this all leads to a really fascinating scientific puzzle. Methuselah doesn't live in some lush, protected forest. No, it lives in one of the harshest environments you can imagine. So how on earth does it do it? Well, the answer is this incredible paradox. Its greatest strength is actually born from its greatest struggle. And this is the central question, the big mystery of the bristlecone pine. You would think, right, that an incredibly long life would require perfect, cushy conditions. But for these trees, the secret to their survival is the exact opposite. It's the harshness of their world that makes them so tough. You can really see it as a fundamental trade-off in nature. In a rich, fertile place, a tree shoots up fast to compete for sunlight. It's all about speed. But that rapid growth creates soft, vulnerable wood. It's the classic live fast, die young story. The bristlecone pine, though, it plays the long game. The awful, nutrient-poor soil forces it to grow unbelievably slowly. And that slow growth, that's its superpower. Get this, 100 years of growth might add less than an inch to its thickness. That's insane. But this creates wood that's incredibly dense and packed with resin, making it almost bomb-proof against insects, fungus, and rot. Plus, the cold, dry, high-altitude air means there's almost no other plants around trying to steal what little resources there are. But the adaptations don't even stop there. It's got this amazing feature scientists call sectored architecture. The easiest way to think about it is like a ship with watertight compartments. A single root is connected to one specific vertical strip of the trunk and its own set of branches. So if a rock falls and crushes that one root, only that one sector dies. The rest of the tree just keeps on going, completely fine. It's why they look so gnarled and ancient. They're literally a mosaic of living wood intertwined with dead wood, a living sculpture of thousands of years of survival. So for nearly 5,000 years, this strategy has been a massive success. But now these ancient survivors are up against a threat that is totally new, something they've never seen before: the incredible speed of modern climate change. Over the millennia, as the climate has warmed and cooled, the bristlecones have survived by just moving. Generation by generation, they slowly shift their territory up or down the mountainside to stay in their perfect climate zone. But the key word there is slowly. The warming we're seeing now is just happening way too fast, and these trees are stuck in a slow-motion race for survival that they are simply not built to win. And they're not running this race alone. Their biggest competitor is another tree, the limber pine, and it loves the slightly warmer conditions that are now creeping up the mountain. And here is where the problem gets really serious. Bristlecone seeds are mostly just scattered by the wind. They don't go very far. But the limber pine has an ally, a bird called the Clark's nutcracker. This bird grabs the limber pine seeds and buries them in little stashes, sometimes up to 5 miles away. It's basically planting a whole new generation of its favorite tree, far upslope, right into the habitat the bristlecones so desperately need to reach.
This chart here really paints the picture. You've got temperature along the bottom and rainfall up the side. Each of these colored ovals is the very specific climate envelope, the Goldilocks zone, that a different group of bristlecones is adapted to. As you can tell, they are specialists. They do not have a lot of wiggle room. Even a small shift in climate can push them completely out of their comfort zone. And honestly, the scientific models are alarming. They predict that for some of these populations, the exact climate conditions they need to live could completely disappear from where they are now by the end of the century. Let that sink in. An organism that lives for millennia is facing an existential threat that's unfolding over just a few decades.
But the story isn't over. Scientists are not just standing on the sidelines. There is a race on to understand these trees better and to come up with strategies to help them survive. And this isn't just about saving one species of tree. It's about preserving a priceless piece of our planet's living history. So why does this matter so much? Well, these trees are so much more than just old. Their rings give us one of the most important climate records on the entire planet, stretching back over 9,000 years. In fact, scientists use the bristlecone timeline to actually calibrate and correct radiocarbon dating, which fundamentally improved how we date almost everything from ancient history. They are quite literally living archives and guardians of our natural heritage. So, in response, scientists are now pushing a strategy they call proactive conservation. The idea behind it is really simple, but it's powerful. Don't wait for the crisis to happen. We need to step in now, understand the threats, and help make the ecosystem stronger before it gets to a tipping point. And this strategy has clear, actionable steps. Researchers are gathering the first-ever collection of seeds and genetic material from all across the species range to protect its genetic diversity. They're setting up monitoring systems to catch new threats early. And they're creating seed banks so that we can restore populations if the worst actually happens. It's a real plan. Look, these trees are the ultimate survivors. They have weathered ice ages, they've weathered epic droughts, they've weathered unimaginable stretches of time by adapting slowly, deliberately. The one big question that's hanging in the balance now is whether these timeless giants, who have seen so much of our planet's history, can survive the sheer speed and scale of the changes that we've brought to their world.